This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
And welcome to the GSMC Sports Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Once again, I'm your host, Jesse Tapia, and for today's show, we're going to talk some NBA games from Wednesday, recap those, probably talk a little bit about the ones going on Thursday night. We'll talk about that Golden State Warriors and Laker game that went into overtime. That was a good one right there. And then we'll do some NFL power rankings also. And then later on in the show, we'll go back to the NBA, pretty much just talk about certain teams in the league right now, how they're doing, and pretty much anything that's going on right now, because I know Kristaps Porzingis, he left his game last night, which was Wednesday, with an ankle injury, I believe it is. So we'll talk about that. Anthony Davis got his first ejection. Look at that. LeBron gets ejected for the first time in his career. The next day, Anthony Davis gets ejected for the first time in his career. So maybe the refs are starting to take over. Who knows? But yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Herm Edwards going to Arizona State University to coach the football program there. And then we'll talk some soccer. We'll talk some college basketball and pretty much anything else going on in sports like we usually do. But yeah, let's just get it started. Let's see. First game of the NBA. We got Phoenix. They headed into Detroit. Detroit won that one. Or actually, before I even get into these games, I was almost perfect. The only teams that I was almost perfect in my picks. The only teams that let me down, let's see. It was the Pelicans and who else? Oh, and the Mavericks. I'm pretty sure I picked the Mavericks yesterday, but yeah, the Pelicans and Mavericks. So thanks a lot for that. I could have been perfect in my picks, but you never know. But yeah, Phoenix went into Detroit. Detroit won that one 131-107. Devin Booker had 22 points, 4 rebounds. He shot 7 of 8 in the game. Greg Monroe, this is the first time I've talked about him since he's been on Phoenix. This is the first time I think he's had a notable stat line, unless I just can't remember or just haven't noticed. But he had 14 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. He came to Phoenix in that, the Eric Bledsoe trade. So good to see that he's looking like he's going to be picking it up for Phoenix. And Phoenix is kind of a weird team. I mean, actually, let me finish the stats, and then we'll talk about them actually later on in the show. But their rookie Jackson, he had 20 points, 7 rebounds. Reggie Jackson for Detroit had 23 points, 5 assists. Avery Bradley had 20 points. He shot 9 of 12 for the game. Tobias Harris had 20 points, 7 rebounds. He shot 8 of 14. Really good season from him so far. And Andre Drummond, he had 13 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. As for the Oklahoma City Thunder, they went into Orlando, and the Magic won that one actually 121-108. Russell Westbrook had 37 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. He shot 11 of 23. Paul George had 22 points on 5 rebounds. He shot 7 of 17. And Carmelo Anthony had 16 points and 7 rebounds. He shot 5 of 16 for that game. Aaron Gordon had a monster game. He scored 40 points, had 15 rebounds. Evan Fournier dropped in 16 points. And Elfrid Payton had a nice game. 19 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, and shot 8 of 10 for the game. And as for the next one, we got Washington. They headed into Philly. Philly won that one 118-113. Bradley Beal had 21 points. He shot 6 of 12. Otto Porter had a really bad game. He had 8 points. He shot 3 of 14. Kelly Oubre Jr. off the bench. He had 22 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. Jody Meeks, again, I was talking about Jody Meeks yesterday, talking about how old he was, and I can't believe he's still in the league, but look at Jody Meeks out there yesterday. 21 points off the bench, so the guy could still ball. Dario Saric had 24 points, 8 rebounds. He shot 8 of 12, really good game from him. Joel Embiid, 25 points, 14 rebounds, and Ben Simmons had 31 points, 18 rebounds, and he shot 8 of 16. And since Joel Embiid played in the game last night, that means he will not be playing against the Celtics on Thursday, and that kind of... I understand, like, they're still not playing Joel Embiid back-to-backs, but, I mean, when are you going to take the training wheels off the guy? I mean, I know you want to be safe, but it doesn't seem like he's still injured or playing with an injury or anything like that, but I guess they're just trying to be safe, I guess. But yeah, Miami, they went into New York. New York won that one 115-86. Josh Richardson had 13 points for Miami, shot 5 of 14. Deion Waiters had 10 points, he shot 3 of 10. And Kelly Olynyk, he had 18 points, 5 rebounds, and shot 6 of 11 off the bench. Bam Adebayo had 9 points, 5 rebounds. Enes Kanter had 22 points, 14 rebounds, 7 of 9 shooting. Courtney Lee had 17 points, 5 rebounds. He shot 5 of 9. And like I said, Kristaps Porzingis came out with an injury. He only had 4 points and shot twice and made them both of them. But yeah, we'll talk about Porzingis in a little bit. And then Charlotte, they went into Toronto. Toronto won that one 126-113. Dwight Howard had 22 points, 10 rebounds, and he shot 8 of 12. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist had 12 points. He shot 4 of 8. Frank Kaminsky had 18 points, shot 7 rebounds. Kyle Lowry had a big game, 36 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and made 8 threes. DeMar DeRozan, 30 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, and Jonas Valanciunas had 12 points and 7 rebounds at the center position for the Raptors. Indiana, they went into Houston. Houston won that one 118-97. Thaddeus Young had 23 points. He shot 11 of 15. Victor Oladipo had 19 points. He had a poor shooting game. He only shot 8 of 20. And then Miles Turner had 15 points, 10 rebounds. Bogdanovich had 15 points. James Harden for Houston had 29 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds. Another big game from him. Clint Capella had 22 points, 13 rebounds. And Ryan Anderson, 19 points, 6 rebounds. And then Eric Gordon had a really bad game off the bench. He only had 10 points. He shot 4 of 10. I guess that's not too bad, but it's not really too good from a player like him, you know. But as for the next game, the one New Orleans, they let me down. Minnesota won that one 120-102. Andrew Wiggins had 28 points, 8 rebounds. Jimmy Butler had 19 points, 4 rebounds. Tyrus Jones, he started yesterday. He had 16 points, 6 assists. Karl Anthony Towns didn't have that good of a game. Only had 11 points, 10 rebounds. He didn't play too much either. I'm not sure if he got hurt in that game or he just didn't play too much. I think he only played around 21 minutes, so I'll have to check that out. But Rajon Rondo for the Pelicans had 3 points, 7 assists. And let's see, DeMarcus Cousins had 17 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Anthony Davis, 17 points, 5 rebounds, shot 7 of 13, but was ejected in the game. Again, his first ejection. I didn't get to see the ejection, but like I said, it's just kind of interesting to see now these players, these top players are starting to get ejected. You never really see them. You usually see them getting all the calls, but we'll see how it goes from now on. And then Brooklyn, they went into Dallas. Brooklyn won that one 109-104. Damari Carroll had 22 points, 7 rebounds. He shot 7 of 14. Spencer Dinwiddie had 19 points, 6 assists. Trevor Booker had 16 points, 10 rebounds. Harrison Barnes for Dallas had 17 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Dennis Smith Jr. had 10 points. He only shot 3 of 11, so not a good game from him. Wesley Matthews had a poor game also. He shot 3 of 8 and only had 8 points, excuse me. Memphis went into San Antonio. San Antonio won that one 104-95. Tyreek Evans had 22 points, 5 assists. He shot 9 of 17. Ben McLemore finally back up from I'm not sure how long he's been up. I know he was in the D-League for a little bit for Memphis, but he had 10 points. Tyler Ennis had 15, or is it Tyler? I think it's James Ennis. Yeah, James Ennis had 15 points, 5 rebounds. LaMarcus Aldridge, big game from him, 41 points, 6 rebounds. He shot 7 of 24. Without his production, the Spurs would probably be near the bottom of the standings right now in the West because Kawhi's been out, and without him, like I said, they just wouldn't be a good team, but he's been picking it up and playing like the LaMarcus Aldridge that was in Portland finally. I mean, he signed his contract with the Spurs about like 3 years ago, I think it was. Can't remember exactly, but I know we've all been waiting for LaMarcus Aldridge to finally show up, and it looks like he's finally here, so it's going to work out well for the Spurs, especially when they get Kawhi back. They're going to be a dangerous team going up against Houston and the Warriors. But yeah, as for Kyle Anderson, he had 10 points, 4 rebounds, and Patty Mills had 13 points. And for the game of the night, the Warriors went into Los Angeles, faced off with the Lakers. Warriors won this one, 127-123 in overtime. Before I get into stats, just something about the Lakers. They always play the Warriors tough, you know. There's always one game a year where the Lakers beat the Warriors, and it kind of comes off of as a shock, but I'm not really sure what it is. Like teams like the Lakers, the Celtics, let's see, who else gives the Warriors problems? Like teams like Memphis, I don't know what it is about them, but I think with the Lakers and Celtics, it's more that they match up. Yeah, with those three teams, I feel like it's just more that they match up well with the Warriors, and most of the other teams don't, because the majority of other teams in the league right now, they don't really, like the Warriors have this formula to where like they got Pachulia playing center, but they're always playing small ball, you know, like Kevin Durant can sometimes be playing at the 5 when they got Draymond out there, Thompson, they have Jordan Bell out there also, and then Curry, but yeah, it's just teams need to start building North teams more like the Warriors. Start playing small ball more instead of just pretty much trying to play the traditional way. Because, like I said, Brad Stevens says that the game's starting to lean more towards positionless basketball, and it's true. You see it with the Warriors, you see it with the Celtics, you're starting to see it a little bit with the Lakers, and the teams who really don't play that way and they play the more traditional style are the teams that, don't do as well in the league. But we'll see how it all goes. But like I said, Warriors won that one 127-123. Draymond Green had 15 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists. He shot 5 of 10. Kevin Durant had 29 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists in his game back from injury. Steph Curry also came back from injury, or at least rest. I'm not sure which one it was. I know Steve Kerr called it they were hurt, but you never know. It's probably like a little dink or something like that. But Curry had 28 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. He only shot 9 of 20, but nonetheless played well. Klay Thompson had 20 points. Brandon Ingram had a good game, 32 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. That guy's been like completely different from last year. Last year was pretty much he couldn't shoot and he wasn't aggressive enough, but this season you see him shoot way better, and you're starting to see him take over more. Pretty much becoming the player that we all thought he'd be when they got drafted at the number 2 spot last year in the draft. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope had a good game, 21.7 rebounds. And Lonzo Ball finally shot the ball. I mean, he didn't shoot the ball great, but he improved based off of what he's been doing. He was 5 of 12 from the field. Let's see. Let me pull up his 3-point stats. But he had 15 points and 10 assists. I think he had like 8 points in like a minute or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but it's just like I said, 5 of 12. That's not great, but actually it is around 40-something%. I think it is. Yeah, somewhere around 40%. But yeah, he shot 3 of 7 from the 3-point line. I think he needs to stop taking so many threes, because when you see him, his shooting stats, yeah, he'll take like about 12 to 14 shots, but at least 6 or 7 of them, maybe even 8 sometimes, are going to be threes. I feel like he needs to get to the hole a lot more and try and score that way, but he's out there playing, I'm not, so it's pretty much up to him. Like I said, though, he had 15 points, 10 assists, only 2 rebounds in this one, and he played majority of the game, too. He played 43 minutes, and as for Julius Randle, he had 20 points, and he shot 9 of 13. Kyle Kuzma didn't play, and then Jordan Clarkson also had a really good game. He had 21 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds, and he shot 9 of 19, so overall a really good game from him. And I want to talk a little bit about a couple of teams. First off, the Thunder. Let me double check their record right now, but like I said, they lost to the Magic, and that wasn't a hard game to pick, actually. I mean, the Thunder on paper, I guess, would be the better team, but if you think more bigger picture in how they play, it's just it's just something about the Thunder. Like, it's just those three. Like, I understand that they have Paul George, Westbrook, and Carmelo, but it's just something about them that I don't like about the team. I mean, as far as the Thunder go, they're gonna have to make a big trade once the trade deadline comes, or at least make a big move. Like picking up someone in free agency or something like that, because the way they're playing right now, it's not going to work in the playoffs at all. I've said many times, I think if they were to play the Warriors in the playoffs, and I think the Warriors would be able to sweep them, and I still think that too, because the Thunder is just, they got those 3 guys, 3 top 15 players, top 20, I guess. I'm not really sure why I want to put Melo, but it's just like they're primary ball handler type of players. I mean, Carmelo Anthony, in order for him to play at his best, he's going to need the ball, and he's going to need to play ISO and create for himself. And then Paul George, you're starting to see him pick up his play a little bit more, but he's the same as Carmelo Anthony. He's pretty much better when he's creating for himself. And then Russell Westbrook, he's able to create for other players, and he's pretty much like the playmaker on that team. But with those 2 other guys out there, I mean, they're going to need to get their shots constantly, so that's going to take away from other guys on the team. So pretty much when those guys are getting the majority of the shots, and like I said, they're not good shots or anything like that. I think I said yesterday on yesterday's podcast that the Thunder are currently last in the league in assists, so they're not really a team who likes to share the ball, and they don't get really too many good shots. So I mean, against a team like Orlando, where Orlando plays team basketball right now, since they're such a young team, and they play good defense. So I mean, against teams like that, the Thunder are going to struggle. I think right now, let me see their record. They're 8-12 right now. Let me see if I can pull up the standings right here too. Yeah, they're 8-12, and they're currently about a game and a half back at Utah for that 8th spot. And I'm sure the Thunder are going to make the playoffs. I don't really doubt that, but it's just the way that they play. It's like they're not gonna make too much noise at all. Like on paper, like I said, these moves, oh yeah, the Thunder are gonna be good. They got Paul George, they got Carmelo Anthony in the offseason. Oh yeah, they're definitely gonna, well, I wasn't thinking this, but it was pretty much the majority of people were thinking, oh yeah, they're gonna challenge the Warriors, they're gonna challenge the Rockets, and they're gonna challenge the Spurs. But really, they're not on those teams' levels right now. Yeah, like I said, they got the 3 top 20 players, but I mean, what good is it if they don't play well together and they're honestly, they're hurting the team more than they're helping right now. This isn't really working, and honestly, I don't think it's going to work for the rest of the season. I know it's still early, but like I said, I just don't think that this is something that's gonna work for them at all. I just feel like it's going to blow up in their face. I mean, Paul George is probably going to leave after this season. I'm not sure how Melo's contract is. I think this might be the last year of his deal, so you never know how it's all going to end up. And, in the next couple of years, you might see Westbrook leave. I can't remember if he signed his extension or not. But either way, it's not looking good for the Thunder right now. So they're going to need to shake some things up. Maybe even looking into trading a guy like Paul George or Carmelo. And trying to see if you could get something back that would help the team. Because, I mean, those guys got value. But if the Thunder stick with those three right there, they're not going to do anything in the playoffs. I'm just going to say that right now. But that's all I got to say about that. Next up, we're going to do some NFL power rankings, so stay tuned. And this is the GSMC Sports Podcast, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
And welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. In that first segment, as we always do for the NBA, we recapped each game that was played last night, which was Wednesday night. We talked about the Thunder, we talked about the Lakers, we talked about the Warriors, and we talked about pretty much every other team that played. But if you missed that, go check it out. But for this segment, we're going to do some NFL power rankings. I'm going to name a team, pretty much name the order. But as I go with each team, I'm going to talk a little something about them, just to give a little analysis. So let's get into it. At number 1 for my power rankings, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Right now, they're the best team in the league. It's not really close. They're 10-1. They're blowing everyone out. They got the MVP front runner in Carson Wentz. He's been playing extremely well. You got LeGarrette Blount, who's been running the ball well. Jai, he's been. I haven't really been watching Philly's games or anything like that too closely, but with Jai, it's he hasn't really taken over yet, at that running back spot. You still got LeGarrette Blount playing well, so we'll see how it goes. But it's a good little 1-2 punch to have and a nice little problem to have, I guess. But like I said, that Zach Ertz, he's been the most consistent tight end in the league so far this season. Alshon Jeffrey's been playing well, and then that defense is playing well also. So we'll see how it all goes for them. End up in the NFC Championship, excuse me. I think they'll end up there, and I think they got a pretty good shot at making the Super Bowl, but we still got a few games left in the regular season. Once playoffs is pretty much a whole different type of monster. But as of right now, Philly is my number 1 team. At number 2, I was kind of iffy on this one. I didn't know. It's between between 2 teams right now. It'd be between. I was kind of deciding between Minnesota, Pittsburgh, and New England for that 2 spot. I'm going to go with Minnesota right now, but only because I haven't really been giving them their fair shake. I haven't really been too high on them, mainly because, I don't know why, actually. It's just something about Minnesota. Maybe it's because Case Keenum's a quarterback, but I know on yesterday's podcast, too, I was talking about how the Vikings need to pretty much guarantee him a starting job for the rest of the season. But as for the Vikings, you can't knock them anymore. Like I said, I was just waiting for them to fall, but they haven't. They're 9-2 right now. They're playing well. Let me see who they got going up this week, this Sunday. They got the Falcons this Sunday in Atlanta. That's going to be a tough game for them because Atlanta's starting to pick it up. It looks like they're starting to play a lot better on the offensive end. So we'll see how it all goes. But yeah, I got Minnesota at number 2, and they're going to be a team that competes. They're going to be competing possibly for the NFC Championship, I think. I don't think they're a Super Bowl ready team. I think they're good, but I don't think they're Super Bowl good. But they'll be in that mix with the Rams, the Saints, and Philly definitely come playoff time. At number 3, I know I talked a little bit about New England at number 2, but at number 3, I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. I think right now Pittsburgh is the better team than New England. And, that's kind of interchangeable right there because I'm going to probably put New England at number 4. But before I even talk about them, Pittsburgh at number 3. Like I said, they got the best receiver in the league. They got the best running back in the league. They got Ben Roethlisberger. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. I don't know if he's top 5 like how he used to be, because you can tell his plays kind of slipped down a little bit, I feel. But as of right now, they got one of the best offenses in the league. I think just the most firepower on that offense, and then the defense has been playing well. It's just the secondary that's been hurting them. But like I said, we're probably going to end up with them and New England in the AFC Championship, and then that's a good little bridge right there for my 4th team. I got New England at number 4. Right now, they're playing lights out. They're playing like a Super Bowl, like they're going to win the Super Bowl. That's how they're playing right now, okay? Tom Brady's playing lights out. Rob Gronkowski, he can't be stopped still. No one's been able to figure out anything for him. Then you got Brandon Cooks, who's been playing well. Dion Lewis has solidified that starting running back spot. He's been getting the majority of the carries, and he's been doing well with the amount of carries he's been getting. Then you got Rex Burkhead. He's a nice little Danny Woodhead type of player out the backfield. He can run the ball. He can also receive the ball and do well out of there as far as after the catch. And then pretty much the defense. I think they gave up one of the most yards. Yeah, they're one of the teams who gives up the most yards, total yards on defense, but they don't give up many points. I think they hold teams to less than 17, I think, per game. So right now, like I said, the defense gives up a lot of yards, but it really doesn't matter if you're not giving up points. So yeah, right now they're looking like a scary Super Bowl team right now, and it's pretty much going to come down between them and Pittsburgh for the AFC Championship, I think. But at number 5, I got the LA Rams. They're playing well. Sean McVay and Jared Goff have a really good relationship right now. I think I was reading earlier today something like Sean McVay is always talking to Jared Goff through the headset, like right before he snaps or something like that too. He's just always like pretty much coaching him up, and that's a good thing too, because I'm sure Jeff Fisher. I try not to bash on Jeff Fisher too much, but I'm sure he wasn't really doing too much of that with Jared Goff last season too. And I remember too, I don't even think that they had Jared Goff come in mid-season. So pretty much Jared Fisher botched that one. But as for the Rams this season, like I said, Sean McVay is a really good coach. Jared Goff has been playing extremely well. Todd Gurley, he's back to looking like the Todd Gurley he was in his first couple of seasons. Then you got Robert Woods, who plays well at home. Sammy Watkins has been playing well. Offensive line has been good. And then you got the defense, led by Aaron Donald, who's been playing extremely well. So they're going to be a team who can compete for the NFC Championship. Don't think they're ready for the Super Bowl yet, but we'll see how it all goes. At number 5, I got... who do I got? Yeah, I got the Saints at number 5. We're going to do a lot of NFC teams, too, for this top 10 because the AFC is just pretty weak at the moment. But I got the Saints at number 5. They kind of shifted their playing style right now. Usually they've been a throw-the-ball, gunslinging team, but you know what? Now they're running the football first team, I feel. You got Alvin Kamara, who gets around 10 carries a game, and that's not a lot, I guess, for a running back, but he makes the most of it. Like I said, last week he had, I think it was 8 carries for 106 yards and a touchdown. And then he's also good out the backfield receiving the ball too. They always run those screenplays with Kamara, and he always gets big yardage out of that. So, yeah, he's a really explosive player. He's probably going to end up being the offensive rookie of the year, I feel. Yeah, because Kareem Hunt really just pretty much, I think he's been hurt, Kareem Hunt, but he pretty much just hasn't been getting the ball a lot, hasn't been doing much with it. But, yeah, like I said, Kamara's been a really good player. Then you got Mark Ingram, who's actually got a clause in his contract. If you were to make the first team, all-pro first team, then he'd be a free agent. So that's going to be something to watch out for. Who knows? Maybe the Saints start doing this thing where they start feeding Kamara more and stop giving the ball to Ingram a lot more. They stop giving the ball to Ingram so that way he doesn't make that first team and they get to keep him. You never know. I mean, it sounds kind of dirty, but for an NFL team. But like I said, you really don't know with the NFL as usual. But yeah, the Saints right now, they're playing really well. Defense is playing all right. The defense started off hot. They kind of cooled down the last couple of games. But when you got Drew Brees, Kamara, Michael Thomas, Mark Ingram, and then you even got Ted Ginn playing well, then you can pretty much do whatever you want as far as the game goes. At number 7, who do I got at 7? I'm gonna go with another NFC team. I'm gonna go with the Carolina Panthers. Right now, they're 8-3. They're playing well, and you really just. Like I said, I've never really been too high on Cam Newton as a quarterback, throwing the ball, running the ball. He's explosive, but it's just throwing the ball is like, I want my quarterback like not to run the ball too much and to pretty much be a pocket type of player, pocket passer type of player. But Cam Newton, it doesn't really matter what I want, just whatever works for Cam Newton works best for the team. And yeah, like I said, right now they're 8-3. Let me see who they got going on this week. They got the Saints this week, so winner's going to come out on top of that division after this week. So it's going to be a big game for them. I'm going to go with I'm going to give a quick little prediction right here. I'm going to go with the Saints in that one, but I still think Carolina's going to make it close. It's going to be an interesting game because Carolina's got a solid defense, and their offense is, like I said, it's kind of iffy sometimes. I mean, they still put up points, but we're going to see how they handle Kamara, Ingram, and Thomas and all those guys. But yeah, at number 7, I have the Panthers. At number 8, I have... Am I going to go AFC this time? I am not. I'm going to stick to the NFC. I got the Falcons at number 8. All right, so early on in the season, pretty much up until the last couple of weeks, probably up until Devontae Freeman got his concussion, the offense really wasn't playing as well as it was last season for the Falcons. They weren't really doing too much. Like, they were playing all right, but it just wasn't they weren't playing to the standard that we all know they could play up to. Matt Ryan was playing well. I mean, he wasn't doing great. Julio Jones has been off and on. The last couple of games, he's been playing well. He had that 253-yard performance last game, I think it was. And pretty much Tevin Coleman's done well to take over for Freeman since Freeman's been out. But I think Freeman's coming back this week, so we're going to see how they all handle it. But I'm sure they're going to have Tevin Coleman handle most of the carries too, just based off of how he's been playing. And then the defense is playing well too. That's one thing about the NFC that I like a lot. Each team that I've named so far, Philly, Minnesota, the Rams, New Orleans, Carolina, and then now Atlanta, they all got solid defenses, and I think that's why they've been so successful so far this season. Because like I said, Philly's 10-1 right now. Then you got Minnesota, who's 9-2, the Rams at 8-3, New Orleans at 8-3, Carolina at 8-3, and the Atlanta 7-4. I mean, the 3 seed in the AFC is 7-4 right now. Jacksonville's 5th right now. The wild card 7-4 too. But other than that, you don't have any teams who are really 8-3 or can really compete with Pittsburgh and New England in the AFC. But I mean, like I said, it's pretty much like I guess it's a 6-team race right now for the NFC Championship, and even it'll be kind of interchangeable too when you throw in Seattle if they manage to make a run. Right now they're 7-4, but it looks like they're starting to slide a little bit. But like I said, at number 8, I got the Falcons, and then at number 9, do I go Seattle or do I go to the AFC? I'm gonna stick in the NFC. I got the Seattle Seahawks at number 9, and their team, like Cam Chancellor's out for the season. Like I said, Richard Sherman's been out for the season also, so we're gonna see how they manage without them. But Russell Wilson, he's a good quarterback for when it's crunch time and it's when towards the end of the year he's gonna be playing well. But we're going to see how Seattle does. I'm not too high on them anymore. I mean, like I said, I got them ranked 9th in my power rankings, but I just don't think that they're going to make the playoffs this season just because of how well the Rams have been playing. And then I think there's going to be 3 teams from the NFC South making the playoffs. So we'll see how it all goes. At number 10, let's see, who do I have at number 10? At number 10, I'm going to go with, this is tough, man. I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars, okay? This is kind of a weird type of pick. I mean, you could go Tennessee, I guess, since they're 7-4, but currently I think the Jaguars are still better. The only problem that they have is quarterback all around. Like, if you're not thinking about the quarterback, then they do have a better team than Tennessee. They got the best defense in the league. They got one of the better running backs in the league, and Leonard Fournette, and then Marquise Lee's been playing well. So yeah, I got Jacksonville at number 10. I think they might end up with the division. They play Tennessee in week 17, so that's probably gonna it's going to be what decides the AFC South. So we'll see how all that goes. But at number 11, I'm going to go Tennessee at 7-4. Tennessee's kind of a weird team. They don't play well, but they pick up wins. Derrick Henry and DeMarco Murray have kind of had they've had average seasons, I guess. They really haven't been the 1-2 punch that we all expected them to be. Derrick Henry had a really good game last game, though, but he really hasn't been able to put it together consistently. And DeMarco Murray, he's not really a guy who's going to get you too many yards. I mean, he scores a lot of touchdowns, but it's mostly at the goal line now. So, like I said, at number 11, I got Tennessee. I really don't trust them too much. Like I said, I think Jacksonville's going to end up in that with the division winner but I'm sure Tennessee's going to make the playoffs still. So, for the next team, at number 12, I got the Detroit Lions. They're 6-5 right now. They've been playing well. They lost to the Vikings on Thanksgiving, but Matt Stafford did well to try and bring them back in the game. And this is like a sleeper team right here. They got a pretty weak schedule coming up. I think let me pull up the schedule right here. They got the Ravens, the Bucks, the Bears, the Bengals, and then the Packers to finish up the season. And I think their toughest game is going to be against the Ravens. It might be against the Packers if Rodgers comes back, but we're going to see. I don't think that Green Bay is going to bring him back if they don't have a shot at making the playoffs, because honestly, why would you? But yeah, we'll see how it all goes. But yeah, I got Detroit at number 12. At number 13, I got the... This is tough, man. I'll go with the Baltimore Ravens at number 13. their offense is terrible. Joe Flacco hasn't been playing well. Alex Collins and Buck Allen have been doing all right at the running back position, and then pretty much Mike Wallace and Jeremy Maclin and all those other receivers are pretty much hit or miss with how it goes based off of Joe Flacco. But I got them at number 13, and then at number 14, I'm gonna go with the Chargers at number 14. Right now they're 5-6, but they're playing really well. Phillip Rivers has been doing well, and let's see, at number 15, I'm gonna go with 15, like these next few teams are going to be a lot of AC teams because I feel like after Detroit, the drop-off in the NFC pretty much hits hard. I mean, you got a lot of 5-6 teams after that, but at 15, I'm going to go with do I want to go with the Chiefs or the Buffalo Bills? I'm going to go with the Chiefs right now. They're on the downfall right now, so they're a team that's trending down. Like I said, I got them at 15. They haven't been playing well. Alex Smith is turning into old game manager. Alex Smith, Kareem Hunt, I believe he's been playing injured, but either way, I mean, if you're out there, you got to do your job. He's only been getting a few carries, like 10 to 12 carries a game, so he really hasn't been able to do much, and it just hasn't been they haven't been doing well at all. The defense has been kind of letting them down too. The secondary has been kind of suspect. The rush defense has been all right, but like I said, it's just they're on the downfall right now. So at number 16, I'm going to finish it up after 16 and then finish up the back half after this in the next segment too. So for my final team for this segment at number 16, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills, but that's also a team that's trending down actually, they might be trending up since they put Tyrod Taylor back out there. They benched Tyrod Taylor last week or 2 weeks ago against the Chargers for Nathan Peterman. He goes out, throws 5 interceptions. They bring Tyrod back in. Boom, gets him a win against the Chiefs. And the Chiefs and Buffalo, like I said, I got the Chiefs at 15, Buffalo at 16, but those are pretty interchangeable right there. I mean, Buffalo just beat the Chiefs, but I really don't like Buffalo just because of their coaching staff right now. I mean, like making just pretty much those head scratcher moves. But like I said, they're at 16 right now. They're 6-5. They still have a chance to make the playoffs, but that'll only be if they leave Tyrod Taylor. And so we'll see how about that. Right now, LaShawn McCoy is one of the best running backs in the league, and then the defense has been playing well too. So like I said, we'll just see how it is. But that's going to wrap it up for the first half of for power rankings. And for the next segment, we'll finish it up, and we'll talk a little bit more about the Giants too and the whole Eli Manning situation. The Giants owner came out and said some things about Ben McAdoo and how they've handled it, and then we'll talk about Herm Edwards too. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA, from the UFC to extreme cage fighting. They got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. That last segment, I did my first half of NFL Power Rankings, and for this segment, we're going to finish up the second half of the Power Rankings, do my team 17 through 32. We'll talk about the Giants a little bit more. I mean, I've been talking about them a lot this week, but this whole Eli Manning situation kind of like just adds news as you go each day. And then we'll talk about Jameis Winston and Derek Cutter a little bit, the coach of the Buccaneers. I think right now, the way he's been talking, I think his coaching job is on the line right now. And we'll talk a little bit about Herm Edwards going to ASU for Arizona State, that is, to coach football. But to recap, I had Philadelphia at number 1, the Minnesota at number 2, Pittsburgh at number 3, New England at 4, the Rams at 5, New Orleans at 6, Carolina at 7, Atlanta at 8, Seattle at 9, then Jacksonville at 10. At 11, I had Tennessee. At 12, I had Detroit. 13, I had the Chargers, who was 5-6. That's pretty surprising there, I guess. And at number 14, I had who did I have at 14? I think I had Baltimore at 14. 15, I had the Chiefs, and then at 16, I had I had the Buffalo Bills. So let's start off with number 17. At number 17, I have I'm gonna go with the Green Bay Packers. They're 5-6 right now, and I think they've lost 3 straight since Rodgers went down. But they played well against Pittsburgh. I know that Pittsburgh secondary is suspect, and that was Brett Hundley's first game. But Devontae Adams has been playing well. And let me see. Let me see their schedule the next 2 games because it's going to be Week 13 coming up. They got the Bucks and then the Browns. So they're able to win these 2 games right here. They'll be back to I think 7 and 6. And I think Rodgers is eligible to return at Week 15. So if he comes back then boom, maybe Green Bay has a shot to make it back into the playoff hunt. But we'll see about that. I mean, they're in the playoff hunt right now, but they're 2 games back right now. So we'll see how it all goes. But they really need these next 2 games in order for them to have a chance at making it. So I have them at 17. At number 18, I'm gonna go with the Cincinnati. I'm gonna go with the Oakland Raiders at number 18. Okay. They've been a disappointment so far this season. Michael Crabtree suspended for a game, and so is Aqib Talib after their little fight. And I think Amari Cooper, he might be out Sunday. They're still deciding he's in the concussion protocol still. I have to double check. But right now, the Raiders, they've just been disappointing so far this season. They were a team the majority of people thought, you know what, this is going to be a team that's going to challenge the Patriots in the AFC Championship. And who knows, maybe they'll be able to make it to the Super Bowl. I know I was thinking the same thing because the Raiders just pretty much, they have no reason to be this bad. I know they're 5-6, still fighting for a playoff spot, but I mean, with the team that they have, I guess you can consider it a bad season so far. They just, like I said, they disappointed. I know Derek Carr was out for a game or 2. I can't remember exactly how many games he was out. But it's just something where the Raiders have been a disappointment so far this season. So I got them at number 18. At number 19, I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals. They're starting to pick it up. They started off, I think they were 2-5, I think it is. Now they're 5-6. They're only a game back of Baltimore for that 6th spot. And look out for the Bengals. This might be the thing right here. They might finish over 500, and that might be what keeps Marvin Lewis around for another year. I thought Marvin Lewis was going to lose his job as the season was going on, but you know what? They've started to pick it up. They're 5-6. They're playing well. Andy Dalton is starting to pick up his play. Joe Mixon looks like he's starting to get past that rookie wall. He's been playing well, and the defense has always been pretty much not lights out, but they've been pretty consistent the last couple of years. And whenever you got AJ Green, you always got a chance. So we'll see how it all goes for them. But yeah, I got them at number 19. At number 20, I got the Dallas Cowboys. And Dallas is a team that's been trending down for me. They got a game tonight, which is Thursday night against the Washington Redskins. Dallas is playing at home. Dallas really needs to get this one if they have any shot of even thinking about making the playoffs. And Dak Prescott really has been playing well. The running backs haven't worked out. Rod Smith has been productive, but he really hasn't gotten the ball enough to show exactly what he can do. And then Dez Bryant's been pretty quiet. He's been missing pretty much. And I don't expect him to do much against the Washington defense tonight. But that's a situation, or that's a discussion for a different podcast. But yeah, I think I got Dallas at number 20. Make sure I got this right. Let me see. Let me double check it right here. All right, yeah. So then at 21, who do I got at 21? I'm going to go with the, this is tough because, like I said, the AFC is really bad. I'm going to have to go with Washington at 21. Right now, Kirk Cousins has been playing well. He's playing for that big money contract once the offseason comes. Jamison Crowder's been playing well. Josh Dotson, he's kind of off and on. He's scoring some touchdowns, but he's not really getting too many yards. Perina's been playing well. And actually, these Washington running backs, the last couple of years, one gets hurt and the backup always comes in. He plays extremely well. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but it's just how Washington, they draft their running backs pretty well. They pick them up I'm not sure if they're undrafted or drafted, but either way, these running backs that are coming, because they've had a lot of injuries at the running back position the last couple of years, so they've had to have some undrafted guys, some guys off the street, but they've all been playing well since they've came in. So yeah, I got the Washington Redskins at number 21. At 22, I'm gonna go with the New York Jets. That's actually a tough one right there. The Jets, they're 4-7. The Cardinals would be the other team I think about at 22, but they're 5-6. But for some reason, there's something about the Jets I think that's better about the Cardinals. Josh McCown's been playing well. Robbie Anderson's he's the best receiver on their team. He's been playing extremely well. The running back position's pretty weak, and like I said, they're still rebuilding. They're not a team that's going to make the playoffs or anything like that, but they've done well to pretty much win games with the squad that they have. At number 23, I got the Arizona Cardinals. They're 5-6. Blaine Gabbert's going to be starting for them on Sunday. Carson Palmer broke his arm early on in the season, and Drew Stanton came out with an injury, so it's pretty much Blaine Gabbert or die for the rest of the season. Adrian Peterson, they picked him up to try and push that playoff, to pretty much push them into the playoffs, but once Palmer went down with his arm injury, that was pretty much it for that. Larry Fitzgerald's still doing his thing, so yeah, I got the Arizona Cardinals at number 23. At number 24, I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're 4-7. Jameis Winston's back this week. And I'm going to talk about that a little later on in the show. Really don't agree with it. I'm going to talk about Dirk Cutter a little bit too, about his job security. But yeah, I got them at number 24, I think it was, I said. And then let's see, at number 25, who do I want to go with at 25? At 25, I'm going to go with the Houston Texans at 25. I was kind of flip-flopping between them and Miami for 25 and 26. But 25, I'm going to go with the Texans right now. DeAndre Hopkins has been playing well. They're kind of on the downfall right now since Deshaun Watson went down. But they've been playing well. They've been competing. So, yeah, I got them at 25. At 26, I got the Miami Dolphins. They're a huge disappointment this season. Devontae Parker, he's been a disappointment this season. Everyone thought that he'd be playing well with Jay Cutler out there since Jay Cutler likes to throw the ball deep, but Jay Cutler doesn't like to throw the ball all, actually, unless it's to the other team. And, yeah, Devontae Parker's just been a disappointment. I think Miami should honestly move away from him. We actually might talk about that in the last segment, too. But, yeah, Jarvis Landry's been playing well this season. But that's pretty much the only player that's been playing well so far this season for Miami. I mean, Sue's been playing well, too, and obviously Cameron Wake. But as for everyone else, they've all been pretty much a disappointment. That team's been a huge disappointment. I think that they have the worst offense in the league. They're probably one of the worst teams in the league right now, just based off of how they play. I think Adam Gase is what coached them to those 4 wins right there. But yeah, right now they're 4-7. They're pretty much free falling. They were 4-3. They've lost 4 in a row. They got Denver on Sunday. I think Denver's favored in that one. That's kind of surprising. I mean, not surprising, but it's just kind of sad to see for the Dolphins that Denver's favored in that one when they got Trevor Siemian out there and they can pretty much throw whatever quarterback out there, and I'm sure they'd be favored against the Dolphins. But at 27, I'm gonna go with the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears don't play really good football or anything like that, so pretty much these last teams that I'm picking up, it's pretty much just gonna be off what's going good for them. So I think Trubisky, he didn't have a good game last week against Philly, threw 2 picks, but I still think that he's their quarterback of the future. Jordan Howard didn't have a good game either, but Chicago's a team that's rebuilding, and they pretty much just need to build up their receiving core and then let that defense develop too, because they got a really young defense also, and they pretty much got to build up that offensive line too, I think. So we'll see how it all goes for them. Then at number 28, I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts. I really like Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. I think that they should trade him in the offseason though if Andrew Luck's going to be healthy. I think you could get probably like a 2nd, 3rd round pick, at least a fourth minimum for Jacoby Brissett. There's going to be a desperate team that's there always is. There's always that one team in the league where they got a good team, a good surrounding team, but at the quarterback position they're just really poor. So I think Jacoby Brissett's going to end up going to a team like that, and we'll see how it all plays out. I don't think he's a backup quarterback at all. I think he's too good to be a backup. I'm not saying like he's a top 10 quarterback or anything like that, but yeah, like I said, I think he's just too good to be a backup. And then let's see, at number 29, I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos at 29. This is going to be tough. So we got 3 more spots to have. At 29, I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos. They're 3-8 right now. They really can't decide between a quarterback. And I think they're really going to end up drafting Josh Allen in the draft. They'll probably end up with like the 7th pick or at least the top 10 pick for sure. That's no doubt. But yeah, Trevor Siemian, not the answer. Paxton Lynch, not the answer. Brock Osweiler was never the answer for any team. But the defense has been really bad so far this season, and Demaryius Thomas has been playing all right with the quarterbacks he's had, but pretty much the offense has been handicapped by having a bad quarterback. So I got Denver at number 29. At number 30, I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers at number 30. They got a little glimmer of hope now that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be out there. And like I said, they're 1-10. The Giants have 2 wins, but right now the Giants are a dumpster fire, and we'll talk about them in the show too later on. Possibly to finish out this last segment, depending how much time we got left. But I got I almost called them the Giants, but I got the San Francisco 49ers at number 30. It's going to be really interesting to see how Jimmy Garoppolo plays this week. Let me see who he's got going on Sunday. He's going against the Bears in Chicago. That's going to be a tough one for Garoppolo. First start with a new team, and it's in Chicago. It's going to be cold. I mean, he's played in New England, but I think his first 2 starts in New England were in the beginning of the season, so it really wasn't that much cold weather. But against the Bears, it's going to be a tough one. Like I said, the Bears got a quick defense, quick and fast defense, so it's going to be interesting to see how Garoppolo does in his first game. Not really looking to see his stats, like how many touchdowns he throws or anything like that, just to see his chemistry with the receivers and pretty much the team around him on offense, see how he does with that. But yeah, so I got them at 30. At number 31, I got the New York Giants. They are a complete dumpster fire. We're actually going to talk about them in the last segment of the show because I want to talk about the owner's comments, and we'll actually talk about Herm Edwards too in the last segment and pretty much talk about anything else. But other than that, like I said, at number 31, I got the Giants. They're 2-9. There's nothing going good for the Giants. Eli Manning is done with that team. He's going to get cut or released, traded. I'm not sure what it is at the end of the season. And pretty much the Giants there's nothing really to say about the Giants. They're the Cleveland Browns of the NFC right now. There's just nothing's going good for them. There's really nothing good you could say. I mean, the Browns right now, I'm about to put them at number 32, but at least they got a little bit of hope going into Sunday, I guess, now that they're getting Josh Gordon. But yeah, I'm done talking about the Giants. There's really nothing you can say about the Giants. They're just a bad team, and that's it. But at 32, to round out my power rankings, I got the Cleveland Browns. They're 0-11 right now. They're going up into LA against the Chargers. If you remember last year, I think it was the Chargers gave the Browns their first win of the season. I think the Chargers kicker missed a field goal, and that's what helped the Browns win. But this week they got Josh Gordon coming back. He's going to be starting this week, so it's going to be interesting to see. If you listen to the Fantasy Football podcast later, I'll be talking about whether or not you should start him, so stay tuned to that one. But yeah, just Cleveland's at 32. I mean, like I said, there's really not much you can say about Cleveland and the Giants right now. I mean, like I said, Cleveland's got Josh Gordon starting this week, but that's pretty much the only thing you can say. Maybe Deshaun Kaiser is going to have a look better now that he's got a solid receiver out there. Corey Coleman's out there too, so boom, you got that 1-2 punch out there. So we're going to see how it goes. But other than that, the defense for Cleveland's been playing well, but it's pretty much now. Let's wait until the draft for Cleveland. Not really much to say about them. See if they get their first win of the season, but it's not looking completely likely. But that's going to round out my power rankings for the NFL. Next up in the next segment, we're gonna briefly talk about the Giants because I've been talking about them a lot so far this week. We'll talk briefly about the Bucks. We'll talk a little bit about Herm Edwards, Tiger Woods. We'll talk about him in his first round today, and then we'll go over the college football scores and then some English Premier League scores too for the last segment. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Sports podcast. If you missed that last time, I finished up my number 17 through 32 for my power rankings in the NFL. And for this one, we're just pretty much going to talk about anything else going on in sports. Talk about the Giants a little bit. The Giants owner, actually, let me start off with it actually right now. The Giants owner, John Mara, said that there's really no guarantees that Ben McAdoo even finishes the season. So yesterday I was talking about how I was thinking, Ben McAdoo, I mean, he's benching Eli Manning. So this is a move you make if you know your job is safe next season. And with the Giants owner coming out and say this, and he actually said to the owner that he was actually kind of surprised that Eli Manning was getting benched. So now it's pretty much changed my thought right there about the whole situation. Obviously, Ben McAdoo's job isn't safe for the next season, and I was thinking it was because he's out here making a move like this. But now it's just Ben McAdoo's a bold man doing something like this. I mean, the guys might get fired before the season even ends, and we've got about this is week 15, so we got about like 5 more games, I think it is. So we'll see. Yeah, week 13, so we've got about I said 5 more games, I think. But it's just. Ben McAdoo, you're a crazy guy if you're out here not even, like, your job isn't safe for next season. You're out here benching the team's best quarterback of all time. I mean, I guess you can debate whether or not you think it's Phil Simms or not, but yeah, it's just a weird move now that the owners come out and said that there's no guarantees that he even finishes out the season. So we'll see how it all goes for them. But yeah, like I said before, I mean, the last couple of podcasts, I mean, Eli Manning, he's done there. Are we going to see him in Are we going to see him in Jacksonville? Or are we going to see him in Denver? Who knows? I think it's going to be one of those two teams because, I mean, Eli Manning doesn't want to go out to a team that's rebuilding right now. He needs to go to a team because these are the last couple of years of his career. I think he's probably got like maybe 2 more years left, 3 if that. But other than that, he's got to go out a winner, and he's going to try to. So, yeah, he's going to end up with Jacksonville or the Broncos. But let's see, what else do we got? Oh, yeah, Dirk Cutter, the coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He said right now, he's not worried about Jameis Winston getting injured with his shoulder injury, and I think bringing in Jameis like that just shows that right now Cutter's playing or coaching for his job with the Bucs right now. I think like if if your job is safe for the next season, then you probably let Jameis sit for the rest of the year and let that shoulder heal up. But it just doesn't really make sense to me. Obviously it does since he's going to be coaching for his job, I feel. But I don't like how they're bringing out Jameis. I just hope Jameis doesn't injure that shoulder anymore. He really doesn't have any room for it to pretty much. He doesn't want to you don't want him to turn into Andrew Luck. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I think Cutter's playing or coaching for his job right now. And also another comment from the Giants owner. He said he regrets how the Giants have handled it because there's been a lot of from benching Eli Manning, because he said there's been a lot of backlash from it. But it's just the whole situation in New York is pretty much just a dumpster fire. And then as far as Tampa Bay goes, Cutter's probably gonna end up losing his job at the end of the season too. I mean, there's always that one surprise hiring. I think this is Cutter's second year or first. I can't remember exactly, but the Bucs were supposed to be a team that were thought to make the playoffs, and it just really hasn't worked out for them at all. I know that they had their bye week 1 because of the hurricane, and they've been playing. They're going to be playing 16 straight games, but I mean, you pretty much got to play the schedule you're given no matter what and make the best out of it. And simply, the Bucs haven't. I think they're 4-7 right now, so don't be surprised if he's gone after the season too. And let's talk about Herm Edwards. He's going to be the new head football coach for Arizona State University, and I'm not sure how I feel about this for Herm Edwards. I mean, you got a good job at ESPN and Arizona State. I don't think it's going to work out for him just because I just don't think that Arizona State's a good program, a good football program. It's just, I don't know, like Herm Edwards, he's an older guy, you know. I don't want to call him an old guy and be a jerk or anything like that. I mean, is it a jerk if you call someone an old guy? I mean, he's up there in age, I feel. I mean, not old enough, I guess, if he's going back out to coaching. But, I mean, why not go to like a good team like, I'm not sure if, I can't remember if Florida's got their head coach yet. I don't think they do. Like, why not go try and interview with a team like Florida or Tennessee? I mean, Arizona State, I mean, what's the goal there for him? I feel like maybe he's just got the itch, so he wants to go back out and coach, but I really don't see a reason why as to leaving your job at ESPN to go coach college football. I mean, honestly, I'm going to be real here. I don't think it's going to work out for Herm Edwards. I think he's got maybe 2 years tops, 3 years. I'm going to go 3 years tops for him, and he'll be back into his, be back at the ESPN desk, but I don't know. I mean, we'll see how it all works out for him. Arizona State really hasn't been a top program or anything like that in the Pac-12. I mean, they've been a team, maybe been to a few bowl games and all that good stuff, but really, they've never really been a team that competes with a USC, UCLA, Stanford, or any of those other teams. I mean, they're just Arizona State, you know? They're just another program in the Pac-12. So, who knows? Maybe he could prove me wrong and show, you know what, he could do it, and he's going to be able to recruit well and build up that program. Because I think that's probably what it is. He's going to try and build up the program, pretty much bring a new culture in there, and pretty much like just revive the program. Because, I mean, Arizona State's really, like I said, they've never really been a notable team in that conference. They've just been an extra body out there. So maybe he's just there to help fix the culture and build up the program. Then once his 3 years are done, they're going to bring someone else in and then bring a better coach in, and then boom, they're competing for the Pac-12 title. But that's the only reason, like the only reason why I see this going how it goes. I mean, it's really, I don't know. I just don't get it. Herm Edwards, I mean, he can do whatever he wants. But if I was up to me, I'd stay at ESPN. But I mean, those college football programs, they pay well. So, I mean, we'll see how it all goes out for him. And Tiger Woods, he finished his round at a -3 today. Not too bad for Tiger. I was actually kind of surprised when I got the update on my phone saying that he played well. I mean, excuse me, but yeah, I'm just surprised. I mean, I think Tiger's done, and I don't think he's winning another major. But and I know it's just one round, but I mean, for him to shoot a -3, is it -3, -3? I'm not sure how it is in golf, but for him to do that, I mean, it's pretty good. It's a good sign, you know. I mean, obviously he's probably gonna make the cut unless he has a terrible round on Friday, but I doubt he will. But we'll see how it all goes for him, and yeah, it's just interesting to see how it's gonna play out for Tiger. I mean, who knows? Maybe he will be able to pull out another major. I don't think he will, but I mean, what do I know, right? Let's see. Let's go to college basketball right now. Let me pull up the scores from yesterday. Duke and Indiana. That was a good game yesterday. I thought Duke or Indiana was going to pull it out. Once the game started, I was like, you know what? It's going to be one of those games. Indiana's going to pull out the win, because Indiana, I think since 2000, before the Duke game, they were 4-4 against the number 1 ranked teams in the nation. So I was like, you know, it's going to be one of those games where Indiana isn't ranked. They really don't have that good of a team, but they're going to be able to pull this one out. I was wrong. They kept it close for most of the game. I think they were down by like 3 with like 3 or 4 minutes left, but Duke just continued to pull away. Marvin Bagley had a good game, 23 points, 10 rebounds. Grayson Allen, he had a decent game too, 21 points, 4 assists. And right now, Duke is undefeated, I believe. I think they are 5-0, I think. Let me double check that. They are, they're not. Oh, I was way off. They're 9-0 actually. I forget those games that they play in Hawaii and stuff like that. Those early games that they play. But they're 9-0 right now. Number 1 team in the nation. Let's see. Next game, number 10 Miami. They beat number 12 Minnesota. That was a close game right there. It was 86-81. That was probably the best game of the night. And TCU beat Belmont. TCU is ranked 23. They won 87-76. Gonzaga beat Incarnate Word. Gonzaga is ranked 15th, and they won 103-68. Alabama, 24th ranked team in the country, they pulled out a close one against Louisiana Tech. They won 77-74. North Carolina didn't have any trouble against Michigan. North Carolina is ranked 13th. They won 86-71. And then Villanova had no trouble with Penn either. Villanova is number 4, and they won 90-62. So that's how those college basketball games went yesterday. I mean, like I said, Miami and Minnesota was the game of the night. And we got a good game tonight too. Number 3 ranked Michigan State's going up against number 5 Notre Dame. That's going to be a fun one right there. I always love these Big Ten versus ACC games right here because they're always going to be good games, you know. But other than that, for the ranked teams, we got number 19 West Virginia playing tonight. Texas A&M, they're ranked number 9. They've really built up their college basketball program too. They used to be just a football school, but they've been building up their program. Look at that, they're ranked number 9. They're playing Rio Grande, and then Texas Tech, number 22. That's going to be a tough one. I think Seton Hall is going to pull this one out against Texas Tech. Texas Tech is ranked 22 right now, but Seton Hall always has a good basketball program. So I think Seton Hall is going to pull out the upset in that one. And then as for Michigan State and Notre Dame, I'm going to go Michigan State. You never pick against Tom Izzo. But that's it for the college basketball games for today. And then let's talk some Premier League. The games just wrapped up from Tuesday and Wednesday, so we'll go recap them. Let's see right here. Let's go with Tuesday's games first since we didn't talk about them yesterday. Leicester City beat Tottenham. They won 2-1. Tottenham's right on the free fall right now. I think they were number 3 a couple weeks ago, and now they dropped all the way to number 7. They're behind Burnley, and I just honestly, it's a huge disappointment because Tottenham was supposed to be a team that was going to compete for the title, but they've just disappointed. Let's see. Brighton Hove and Albion, they tied Crystal Palace 0-0. West Bromwich Albion, they tied Newcastle United 2-2. Manchester United beat Watford 4-2. Let's see the goal scorers for that game for United. Let's see right here. I got it right here. Ashley Young scored twice, 19th and 25th minute. Ashley Young's been around for a while. I'm surprised too. He's been able to stick around for so long because he's gone through around like 4 coaches, three coaches I think since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. And usually it's pretty much everyone's been getting transferred out, and there's been pretty much a switching in and out, but he's managed to stay there somehow. Anthony Martial scored in the 32nd minute, and then Jesse Lingard scored in the 86th minute. So yeah, Manchester United won 4-2. Liverpool beat Stoke City 3-0. Chelsea beat Swansea City 1-0. Burnley beat Bournemouth 2-1. Arsenal's been a team who's been playing extremely well the last few weeks. They won 5-0. They beat Huddersfield Town. Manchester City won 2-1. They beat Southampton. It was close. Raheem Sterling got the game winner in the 96th minute. So Manchester City was able to keep that unbeaten streak. I'm pretty sure they're unbeaten this season. Yeah, they were able to keep that unbeaten streak. They're at 14 games unbeaten right now in the league. And then Everton beat West Ham United 4-0. West Ham United has been a dumpster fire the entire game or the entire season. I think West Ham won 4-0. Wayne Rooney scored a hat trick, and then Ashley Williams scored a goal too. So that was really played for Everton. Let's look at the table right now. I'll talk about the top 7 right now. You got Manchester City at number 1 with 40 points. Then you got Manchester United at number 2 with 32 points. I think honestly the title race I think it's over. I know we still got about 24 games left. I think it is left in the season. But right now Manchester City is by far the best team in the league, and they got the best coach in the league. So we'll see how it all plays out. But at number 3, you got Chelsea with 29 points. At number 4, you got Arsenal with 28 points. At number 5, you got Liverpool with 26 points. At number 6, you got Burnley with 25 points. And then at number 7, disappointment, you got Tottenham with 24 points. So we're going to see how it all plays out. But other than that, we got the World Cup draw coming up on Friday, so it's going to be fun to watch. And then I got some little Giancarlo Stanton news too. John Morosi, he tweeted out, I think he works with MLB.com. He tweeted out that the Marlins likely would accept an offer of Joe Panik and 2 of their top prospects. I think it's the number 2 and number 3 prospects from the Giants for a Stanton, if the Giants would pay at least $250 million of Stanton's $295 million contract. So we're going to see how that all plays out. I think Stan, when it's all said and done, it's honestly kind of tough to call where he's going to go right now because it's all been rumors and speculation. I mean, it's going to come down to the Dodgers, the Cardinals, the Giants, and the Red Sox, I feel. But I just think that it's too good to be true for him to end up on the Dodgers. I'm going to go with him ending up on the Giants. I think that's where he's going to end up. I don't really think the Red Sox are trying to give up too much for him. They got plans for free agency. I think they're going to look at J.D. Martinez and a couple other players for the Red Sox. And then I really don't see him going to the Cardinals. So I think it's going to end up with the Giants. So look out for them and Giancarlo Stanton if they end up getting him. But that's going to wrap it up for today's show. We talked about the NBA games in the first segment. We did some power rankings from the NFL. We talked Eli Manning again. We talked Jameis Winston. We talked Herm Edwards. And we talked Tiger Woods having a good round in his first round back. And then we went over the college basketball scores. And then, like we said, we just finished up right now with the Giancarlo Stanton news. We'll be back tomorrow. Let's see what we can talk. We'll do some NFL predictions for tomorrow's show, and pretty much tomorrow might be an NFL heavy show unless there's other news to talk about. But yeah, we'll talk about the Thursday night football game too. But that's gonna wrap it up for today's show. Thanks for listening. This was a fun one. Once again, this is the GSMC Sports Podcast. I'm your host Jesse Tapia, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Stay tuned.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.